who infiltrated across the disputed international border into Indian-held Kashmir. India retaliated by carrying out surgical strikes on terror bases across the border.
The departure of the first contingent of British troops from the new Dominion of India was an historic event.
British India was on the verge of gaining its independence from British domination. The division of British India into the separate state of Pakistan and India was overseen by Governor-General Louis Mountbatten, with the exceptions of a few princely states that were directly under British administrations. The empire known as the British India was made up of several princely states. The British East India Company and the Crown had signed treaties with the state in British India known as the Indian Prince State, which were not under British rule but were nevertheless constrained. Not to mention, princely state kings were granted the freedom to select whether they wanted to move to India or Pakistan during that period of closeness to independence. As Mountbatten put forward, the majority of the Hindu states ended up in India, despite the fact that secularism is a practice in India on the long term. Then the state with preponderance of Muslims were for Pakistan.
100 meters above the line of control, which divides Kashmir between one area administered by India and the other by Pakistan.
History of India and Pakistan territorial conflicts. My name is Adeniran Oluwafemi Samuel. India-Pakistan has been having border conflicts for decades. Territorial conflicts in the Kashmir region served as the main catalyst for two of the three main Indo-Pakistan wars. This broke out in 1947, 1965, as well as a lesser battle in 1999. The two countries have had a shaky ceasefire since 2003, but they continue to often fire around across the line of control, the contentious borders. Each side accused the other of violating the ceasefire while claiming that they are shooting in reactions for attacks.
Long-standing tensions between Pakistan and India have caused the relations to be tense. Since 1947, when both republics gained independence from British administration, they have been at odds over territorial claims to the borderlands. This conflict dates back to when both states were at war with one another. Since then, there have been three significant battles between two states, three of which took place in 1965, 1971, and 1999.
India and Pakistan were partitioned in August 1947 on the basis of religious majority. Among them were the Hindus and the Muslims, causing mass migration of non-majority people. Until 2003, the two countries maintained a precarious ceasefire, but were regularly embroiled in conflict within and beyond the disputed Kashmir border region. The Kashmir region, which is 85,806 square mile region in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent, has been subject of controversy even before India and Pakistan gained their independence and became embroiled in territorial disputes over the region as independent states.
Previously, the territory was slated to become independent according to Maharaja Hari Singh, but instead was acceded to India as thanks for aid provided against invading Pakistani tribesmen in October of 1947. In July of 1949, both states agreed to a ceasefire across the territory by recommendation of the UN, essentially dividing the region. Crises that have arisen in the area included a terrorist attack in the Indian-administered Kashmir area, which was followed by India in an aerial strike in Pakistan.
There are three reasons as to why Kashmir is important to both India and Pakistan: resources, geography, and national security. In terms of resources, Kashmir can be accessed as it passes through the Indus River. For Pakistan, rivers are important for agriculture, mainly because the lowlands of the Indus Valley do not receive frequent rainfall. For For India, it also requires access to the Indus River and its irrigation canals. A state that gains control of Kashmir can cut off water supplies to the challenged states. This is why the Treaty of the Indus Valley was passed on September 19th of 1960, allowing both countries and Kashmir to receive water equally from the Indus River.
According to the Treaty of Indus Valley, Pakistan controlled the rivers west of the Indus, while India controlled the rivers east of the Indus. 16% of the Indus waters flowed to India and the rest to Pakistan now. In addition to water supplies, India is also eyeing hydropower. Kashmir and Jammu rely on rivers and other bodies of water for their energy sources. Kashmir currently produces 3,000 megawatts of electricity, with a potential for 16,000 megawatts. Other attractive resources of Kashmir are oil, uranium, natural gas, and gold.
In terms of geography, Asuri 2020 stated that Kashmir connects Central Asia and South Asia to India. It is the sole road used to travel to Central Asia to Europe. What is more, Kashmir is in the Belt and Road Initiative, which is the strategy of China that would bridge Asia and Africa and Europe through terrestrial and marine roads, drawing inspirations from the Silk Roads thousands of years ago, targeting growth of economics, trade, and regional integrations as explained by European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. In India, there is another project in mind, the CPEC, a bilateral project between China and Pakistan, involving the constructions of infrastructures, energy programs, and roads to be used by China and Pakistan. This plan will heavily involve Kashmir as it links Central Asia to China. All in, according to geographical region of Kashmir, it's really important to both states as that's the sole road that connect both states to the outer world.
Two of the major Indo-Pakistan wars of 1947, 1965 and a minor conflict in 1999 were caused by territorial dispute in Kashmir. Despite a 10-year ceasefire agreement between the two countries since 2003, they still engage in frequent firefights across the disputed borders, the line of control. Both sides claim they are firing in retaliation for the attacks, while the other accused the other opposition for violating the ceasefire. An escalating border conflict that began in late 2016 and continued into 2018 had killed a large number of civilians and displaced others. This was true on both sides of the control lines. In September of 2016, armed militants attacked a remote Indian army base in Uri, near the line of control, killing 18 Indian soldiers in the deadliest attack on the Indian armed forces in decades. Indian officials accused Jaish-e-Mohammed, a group with alleged ties to the Inter-Service Intelligence, Pakistan's main intelligence agency, of being behind the attack. Militants then attacked an Indian military camp near Srinagar in October 2017 and an Indian military base in the Jammu region in February 2018, killing 5 soldiers and a civilian. A year later, in February 2019, at least 40 soldiers were killed in India-controlled Kashmir when an Indian paramilitary convoy was attacked. The attack, claimed by Pakistani militant group Jaish-e-Mohammed, was Kashmir's deadliest attack in 3 decades. After the attack, India retaliated with airstrike on terrorist training camps on Pakistani territory. Pakistan later retaliated the next day with airstrike in Indian-controlled Kashmir. The exchange escalated into an air battle in which Pakistan shot down 2 Indian military planes and captured an Indian pilot. The pilot was released 2 days later. In September of 2016, armed militants attacked a remote Indian army base in Uri, near the line of control, killing 18 Indian soldiers in the deadliest attack on the Indian armed forces in decades. Indian officials accused Jaish-e-Mohammed, a group with alleged ties to the Inter-Service Intelligence, Pakistan's main intelligence agency, of being behind the attack.
For decades, India and Pakistan have had turbulent relations since their liberation from under the rule of the British and have been in constant turmoil with each other. Both states have been engaged in armed conflict with each other and have even gone to war on numerous occasions. Since 1947 till 1999, the main reason for which was the territorial dispute over the shared border territory of Kashmir. From October of 1947 to January of 1949, Kashmir was subjected to conflicts between the two states with mass casualties. Then in August 1965, the Second Indo-Pakistani War arose after a series of clashes across the Indian-Pakistan border when Pakistani soldiers crossed the line of control into Indian-administered Kashmir in an attempt to start an insurgency against India. Operation Gibraltar.
The war ended in 1996, specifically in January, when officials from India and Pakistan signed a declaration affirming their commitment to peace, though it would not last long. In 1974, India tested its first ever nuclear weapon at an army base near its shared border with Pakistan, leading to a subsequent nuclear race between the two states. As 2 decades pass, conflicts between the two states continue despite the ceasefire, with disputes such as India blaming the Pakistani militants for the terrorist attack that befell the Indian Parliament building in December of 2001 that led to the death of 9 people, and as recently as August 2019, wherein a controversial and unexpected move, the Indian government revoked Article 370, which grants Indian-administered Kashmir autonomy and gave Kashmir the rights to its own constitution, a separate flag, and freedom to make laws regarding residency, property ownership, and fundamental rights.
The Kashmir region was described by the editors of Britannica Encyclopedia 2022 as a large border territory of 85,806 square miles and is located in the northwestern area of the Indian subcontinent and was a part of major contentions due to the many resources available within the area. The river is one of the main sources of water within the territory, allowing for the possibility of agriculture in a location that receives minimal rainfall through irrigation. Another major commodity provided by the area is hydroelectricity. India and Pakistan, formerly known as British India, was divided on the basis of religious majorities, namely Hindu for India and Muslims to Pakistan, causing those outside the majorities to mass migrate. However, Kashmir stood apart greatly due to the fact that a majority were Muslims, but their leader, Maharaja Hari Singh, was Hindu, leading to confusions as to which state would hold jurisdiction over the region. The Maharaja was concerned of the fact that should Kashmir fall under the jurisdiction of either state, there would be uproar from those who lived in the area who were of the opposing religious majority, and therefore chose for Kashmir to remain neutral. As a result of lack of decisive choice on which state would hold jurisdiction, leading to riots in various Kashmir districts as well as Pakistani militias crossing the border. Eventually, Kashmir turned to India for assistance in the conflict against invading armed Pakistani tribesmen, leading to the Kashmir region, acceding management of its defensive powers, communication, and foreign affairs to India, and the line of control being established in the aftermath of its ceasefire on January 1st of 1949, as well as the Kashmir region being divided, with 2/3 going to India, while 1/3 went to Pakistan.
After the 1947 dispute, Kashmir became subject to scrutiny and debate in the United Nations Security Council, as India sought aid from the UNSC in keeping the Pakistani away and having Kashmir be acceded to India through Article 35 in the United Nations Charter. In retaliation to India's claims, Pakistan accused that India utilized fraud and forced Kashmir to accede to India, along with claims of Muslim genocide in the area. Due to this dispute, Kashmir became a warring area despite its colonization. Between 1948 to 1971, the UNSC passed a number of vehicle resolutions on Kashmir between 1948 and 1971. What started out as a resounding appeal for a free and impartial BSIS turned into a tug of war between Pakistan and India over who made the first mistake.
In conclusion, Pakistan suffered a defeat in the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971 and East Pakistan military surrendered. India won this war militarily but lost it politically. On December 3, 1971, Pakistan launched simultaneous airstrike against 11 Indian air bases, sparking the start of this conflict. India was forced by this to support East Pakistan Independence War. Now, Bangladesh, with India help, Bangladesh was made into an independent state, and India solidified its position as a major regional force in South Asia. India had gained the upper hand 13 days into the conflict, and on December 16, 1971, in Dhaka, the Pakistani military Eastern Command signed the Instrument of Surrender, thereby establishing East Pakistan as the new country of Bangladesh. Nearly 2/3 of Kashmir came under Indian authority. The remaining was taken over by Pakistan. According to neutral assessments, India won because it was able to successfully defend the majority of the contested territory, including the Kashmir Valley, Jammu and